Hi, how's everybody doing today? This is Sean, and I'm here to let you know that my predictions were right a few years ago. I was telling everybody that Sri Lanka country is going to fold, they are going to go bankrupt, and they are going to collapse. And I'm telling you, in 2019, I was telling this if we lost this election to Biden, that the same thing is going to happen in America, and I give it another 2 years, and we are going to see the same things that are going on in Sri Lanka here. And they just passed a law in Sri Lanka that you cannot buy gasoline if you're a private citizen for your cars. You're not allowed to buy gasoline from any of the gasoline stations. So this lady here, she's over there, and she's a news journalist, and she's going to tell us what happened to Sri Lanka and why it's in that situation over there. So let's take a listen to this. Before I do this, I was letting everybody know I've been on YouTube for about 10 years now, and I've always been on here to share my knowledge with everything and share my life experiences and my family events with everybody. I collect sports cards and memorabilia, and I was showing people how to store them and collect them. And during the pandemic, I was warning people not to buy things at a high price because it was a bubble. I saw what the stock market people were doing, the guys like Jeff Wilson, these Dan curators, these average people off the streets too were jumping in on it. And what they were doing is they were bringing their stock market mentality to our sports card industry, and they did exactly what I said they were going to do. There was only a few people like myself calling this stuff out. My man over there, Ziggy, from sports card show, I think he calls it now, but it used to be Ziggy No Sports. He and I were talking about it, and AIH was talking about it. There's only a few guys, and then Ziggy's really nice about it, but I think as YouTubers and just as human beings, when we have channels and we can reach people, 1,000 people, 2,000 people, whatever, how many people there are on our channels, it's our responsibility to bring events, worldwide events, to our viewers and our subscribers, because you're not going to see this stuff on TV. They're going to sugarcoat everything, like I've been saying. And as everything's crashing, the stock market's crashing, your sports card memorabilia is crashing, everything that you own and love and cherish is being taken away from you on a daily. And then you got these channels like Neo and Dan the curator, which is a fraud and a scam artist and a person of very dubious integrity, going around telling you about morality and how you should not listen to negativity because he knows what's coming and he's trying to get as much money from you people as possible, and he even rips his own friends off. So let's listen to this nice lady. She's going to explain what's going on over there because she's there and she's seen it and she's been calling this out for a little while. So, as I was saying, we have a responsibility to each other to share information. It's not just a sports card channel. It's a channel, a YouTube channel that brings everybody together in every form and fashion, every race, every creed. I have friends on here that do music. I have friends on here that expose the NFL. My friend Lobo, my man over there, Quinn Zone. There's a whole bunch of people, young guys, older people, younger ladies, older people. Like I say, everybody is sharing and doing their part, and then you have just people out on here just trying to grift you out of your money because they know it's coming to an end. And when that does come to an end, they're the ones that are going to get the most hate towards them because they're the ones that were responsible for you losing everything. So let's listen to this nice lady. I'm sorry I just wanted to set the stage. I want you to know who I am and what I'm about. I love people. I love humanity. I don't want anything to happen to anybody. I'm a fighter. I've never backed down from anything. I've fought all my life. I was actually, had both my hips replaced and I had to learn how to walk again. I've been in situations where people say you can't do anything, and I've overcome things, and I'm going to let you know through the strength of Yeshua Christ Jesus, you can do all things, and we're going to have to stick together so our country doesn't end up like Sri Lanka.
This week's headlines from Sri Lanka. Bankrupt Sri Lanka asks citizens abroad to send home cash. 13 Lankan banks placed on rating watch negative. Sri Lanka defaults on $51 billion external debt. There is trouble in the island paradise. There is no food. At least 500,000 Sri Lankans have fallen into poverty in the last few months. There is no fuel. There are no medicines. Critical surgeries are being cancelled. Doctors say the economic crisis may kill more Lankans than COVID did. There are daily power blackouts and wide-scale protests on the streets. What's happening in Sri Lanka is much more than an economic crisis. It is a humanitarian crisis. The question is, how did it happen? How did Colombo lose all its money? We will answer these questions tonight. Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay. The Lankan crisis has numerous explanations. There is a problem with the country's policy. Then there is politics. Factors beyond Lanka's control, what people like to call fate. And then there is China, the root cause of many problems in Sri Lanka and elsewhere. We'll start with policy. What's happening now is a result of years of mismanagement. You see, there's a fundamental problem with Sri Lanka. It imports more than it exports. It spends more than it earns. There is a trade deficit. There's also a budget deficit. This double debt is a perfect recipe for disaster. Sri Lanka's response to this disaster has been disastrous. Instead of trying to narrow down the deficit, the country expanded its debt. Colombo borrowed heavily from countries and agencies. Today, Sri Lanka's debt to GDP ratio is 111%, meaning it owes more than it produces. In 2019, the Asian Development Bank flagged this problem. It said the country's national expenditure exceeds its national income and that its production of tradable goods and services is inadequate. 2019 was also the year Gotabaya Rajapaksa was campaigning for presidential elections. Among his election promises were deep tax cuts. Basically, you vote me to power and I will ensure that you pay less tax. Well, how will the country make money then? The voters never asked and Gotabaya never bothered to warn. In November 2019, he was elected to office with more than 52% of the vote. A series of drastic tax cuts followed. Ratings agencies raised an alarm. They realized Sri Lanka's state coffers will soon be bleeding and the country may soon run out of money. So Lanka was downgraded to near default levels. As a result, investors fled the country and it became difficult for Sri Lanka to access international markets. But Gotabaya was not done. He made another blunder. In April 2021, he banned all chemical fertilizers. Why? Good for health, he said. Critics rolled their eyes. They realized the real problem was not health, but shortage of dollars. Sri Lanka was saving foreign reserves by banning import of fertilizers. The move went on to kill farm output. This white rice is a staple in Sri Lanka. Its production fell by 50%. Around June 2021, Sri Lanka was forced to import rice. Something like this had not happened in years. In July came more bad news. Sri Lanka banned import of luxury goods. By now, the country was scrambling to save dollars. Headlines like these made it clear that Sri Lankans needed to brace for storm. And one could also say that Sri Lanka walked into this storm. To an extent, what's happening now is Gotabaya and company's brand of politics backfiring. This family's return to power was made possible with the support of Sinhala Buddhists. The Rajapaksas tried extra hard to not lose their support. In the last 3 years, Sinhalese sentiments were kept in mind when making decisions involving national and international affairs. From a pro-market approach, Sri Lanka switched to a welfare-driven mode. It invested in infrastructure. Why? Because the monks preferred this approach to development. Sri Lanka also avoided forming closer ties with India. The Rajapaksas chose to move closer to China. They've always tried to do that. They used bilateral debt to fund infrastructure and expand the Lankan military. Colombo bet on China to drive the Sri Lankan economy. China did send some money, but it also exported a Wuhan virus. While Sri Lanka was never good with money, it was China that ensured Colombo goes bankrupt. By 2019, Sri Lanka's tourism sector was already suffering. The Easter bombings had scared off Europeans who would holiday in the island nation. Then came the Wuhan virus. When borders closed, tourists completely stopped arriving, and so did the revenue from tourism. Sri Lanka depends on tourism for 13% of its GDP. Tourists are also a source of foreign currency. In 2020, Sri Lanka managed to welcome just 173,000 tourists. In 2018, the number was 2.3 million. You see the gap. By 2021, Sri Lanka's tourism revenue was down to $2.8 billion, as against $7.5 billion in 2019. The Wuhan virus also hit remittances, Lankans abroad stopped sending money. So late 2021, the revenue from tax had fallen. Agriculture production, which accounted for 8% of the GDP, had also fallen. Tourism revenue had fallen, so had remittances. And to top it all, there was a raging pandemic, and foreign agencies were not lending money to Sri Lanka. What did Colombo do? It turned to its neighbors. In June 2021, Bangladesh loaned Sri Lanka $200 million. In February 2022, India lent $500 million. Sri Lanka could not sustain. In March, Gotabaya Rajapaksa devalued the Sri Lankan rupee. The idea was to encourage remittances and qualify for a loan from the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. But as the Sri Lankan rupee plunged against the dollar, the people's purchasing power took a plunge too. Today, $1 is equal to 326 Sri Lankan rupees. The currency has fallen 32% since the beginning of this year. Back home, prices have soared. Inflation is up 30.2%, meaning the price of food has increased by more than 30%. A coconut that would previously cost 50 Lankan rupees now costs 91 rupees. Prices of onions have gone up from 80 to 158 Lankan rupees for a kilo. The price of rice has increased 93%. Chicken costs 55% more. Lentils 117%. So there is soaring inflation, huge piles of debt, bleeding foreign reserves, and a tanking currency. Everything that could go wrong with the country's economy has gone wrong with Sri Lanka. So much for all the politics and appeasement. Today, Sri Lankans across ethnic lines are coming together every day to scream, "Go, Gota, go." The monks have turned against the Rajapaksas. How much money do you think Sri Lanka currently has? Less than $1.94 billion. This is as of March. And that's a little over the net worth of Kylie Jenner, the 24-year-old American model. But Sri Lanka needs to feed, clothe, and give security to 22 million people with that money. It also needs to repay loans. Sri Lanka has about $8.6 billion in debt payments that's due this year. It's supposed to pay some $78.2 million as interest payments on the 18th of April. That's Monday. Colombo has announced that it would be defaulting. Earlier in April, it announced a nationwide emergency. As we speak, Sri Lankans are fleeing to India. As we speak, Sri Lanka is in dire need of $20 billion. That's how much it would need for essential imports like food and fuel and to restart exports. The question is, where will this money come from? Sri Lanka is hoping the IMF will bail it out, but all money comes with strings attached. Whichever way the story goes, there's more pain in store for the people of Sri Lanka.
Now, we sent over $700 billion to Ukraine to fight a proxy war. And where are you getting that money from? You keep printing money, you have no goods to sell. When I was growing up, I know I sound like a broken record. I'm not that old. I just turned 50 in December. So when I was growing up, and a lot of people in our community around my age and a little younger, but everything was pretty much made here in America. And I remember my grandparents and people older than me when we started getting imports from China. It was the stuff. The products were garbage. You know, American-made stuff will last longer. Like General Electric was known, Whirlpool was known to last forever. I mean, I had a freezer, a little stand-in freezer that I used for my fish and stuff that I, had extras. We go shopping once a month, and we buy frozen stuff, and we have it outside in our garage. This freezer, that thing was 25 years old, and it worked awesome. It never broke down or nothing, And when I sold my house, I sold that too with it, so it was like I couldn't take it with me, and that was because of the market crash. We lost our house, my mother and I. And I tried to move back in and help her because I had my own place, and I didn't have a girlfriend at the time. But I went in there and tried to help her, but we were bamboozled by Countrywide, and because of Obama's policies, everybody, a lot of people lost their homes. And what's going on now is nothing compared to what's going to happen in the next month or so, next year. We are heading in the same direction as Sri Lanka. No one seems to care. Because we have been spoiled. What God did for us is God gave us America, and we were born. When I was going to Catholic school, you were considered to be blessed to be born in America. not because of our liberties and in our freedoms and stuff. That also has to do with a lot. But it was because we have the most natural resources than anybody in the world. We have oil reserves. We have unlimited amounts of ocean around us. We're surrounded by good land, and we have abilities to grow our own things. And what happened was we started importing everything. We stopped making things here. And a prime example of that was during the pandemic when we ran out of masks because we weren't even making masks here. That fella that does the my guy, pillow fella, he started making masks, and he's nuttier than a fruitcake. I get it. But this goes to show you that it doesn't matter who's president. It doesn't matter who's in Congress or in the Senate. If you're Republican and Democrat, it doesn't matter. The system itself is broken beyond repair. It's broken and corrupt beyond repair. You have no term limits in Congress. You have no term limits in the Senate. These people are criminals. They've been criminals for a long time. The Kennedy family was, Ted Kennedy drove a lady off a car. He was in a car drunk, drove a lady off a bridge, killed the lady, and then reported the accident like almost a day later. No one was arrested for anything. You have the Bidens that are doing all kinds of outlandish shit. Nancy Pelosi doing all kinds of outlandish stuff. Mitch McConnell, they're all corrupt. Rick Scott, had over 400 counts of Medicaid fraud and Medicaid and Medicare fraud in the state of Florida. He pleaded the fifth over 100 and some times, and now he's a senator. He was the governor of Florida. These people are corrupt and they're evil, and you don't get money from being a nice person. And the whole concept of money is an illusion. It's not worth anything. We don't even have gold or silver to back our currency, and everybody's like, well, we got the petrodollar. Everybody's buying oil, using it. You have to use American currency to buy things. Well, this lady just told you explaining what happened. Because of the currency and everything going on, it has driven the price of what they have to pay with our currency up to the point where people can't afford food. And our currency is being destroyed by Russia because we put sanctions on them that backfired on us, and now their money's worth more than ours. And now it's come out that Biden, President Biden, is selling oil to China, our reserves, selling our oil to China through his son's firm that he works for, and his hundreds of millions of gallons of oil is going to China, our reserves that are supposed to be used here in America. No one's being held accountable for it. Nothing's being done. And I'm going to put a little pause here. I'm going to show you how these people sort out stuff over there. What do you see what they're doing over there in Sri Lanka because of the corruption in their government? They overthrew their government. Okay, and I'll show you something here. I'm going to pause it because I want to find the video. Okay, we're back. And this is what's going on over there right now, today, and in the last couple days. They literally overthrew their government, and they literally stormed their capital. Now, you want to talk about insurrections and stuff like that? They're talking about January 9th, January 6th, those people protesting. This is insurrection. This is a complete takeover of their government. They went to the president's house, took his house over, burnt the house down. They're burning his stuff down, burning all the buildings, the Congress buildings, the Senator buildings, all the places that they do business. They're in his house right now doing pool jumpings and stuff like that, which they have every right to do because they are starving these people out. And then he'll tell you all the things that's going on to the left. Now this video is like about a minute and a half long. When you see other videos, there are literally probably almost 100 million people in the streets in this area. The cops can't stop them. Nobody can stop them. No military is going to stop them. There's too many people. And that's what would happen here in America if they really wanted to overthrow the government. This is what they did over there, and they overthrew their government. You're not going to see this on TV. You're not going to see this anywhere on mainstream media because they do not want to give people any kind of hope in here or any kind of ideas on how you can actually, get this government out of office. Now, my idea is this. You do not need to use any type of violence whatsoever. What you do as a whole, everybody, every person of color, every person that's every creed, every nationality. Everybody that lives in America and works. We go on a complete work strikeage until our demands are made. Nobody works. No gas attendants. Nobody working at McDonald's. No Amazon people. No Walmart people. Nobody. Hospitals. Everything shut down. Shut it down until these people are out of office. And what you do is, abolish the political parties. You don't need Republicans and you don't need Democrats. You definitely don't need Democrats. They started the KKK, by the way, and they're the ones causing all these problems because they're evil. It's pretty simple. You are fighting evil people, and either you want to be part of the evil regime or you want to not be part of it and you want to fight for good and be on the side of God. You have a complete work stoppage until these people are out of office. Every one of them, every person in Congress, every person in the Senate, the presidency, all of them have to go. They have to resign. And then you replace these people with people, just regular people that you vote for because you want them to represent your moralities and your ethics and your beliefs. Okay, that's how you do this. You don't vote for political parties. This is not football. This is not basketball. This isn't your favorite team. These people are destroying your country and they're getting filthy rich by it. And they are taking out the middle class. So they're only going to be super rich people and poor people, and that's it. And if you don't stop this now, it is going to get to the point that there is in Sri Lanka, and I'm right about it. Okay? I called this shit out 2 years ago. I said that their country was going to crash, and I'm telling you, the same thing is going to happen here if we do not stand together as a whole. All of us. We won't have food. We won't have gas. I'm waiting for them to tell us that we're not going to be able to buy gas no more. That's the next thing I'm telling. Then you're going to really see some shit hit the fan. You do not go in the streets. You do not do any of the shit that these people don't burn nothing down. Don't do anything. Stop work until your demands are met. And I guarantee you, it's working in other countries. They've done it. 250,000 Indian people over there a year ago protested for the outlandish laws and lockdowns that they were doing over there, and it worked. They stopped it. Those people got out of the government, and the people got control of their government back. And that's what we got to do here. I don't care how much money that China owes us. Come get it. Or we owe China. Come get it. Come get it. Bring it on. We have 300 million strong here. We're armed citizens. We can handle it. They ain't got nothing that they can do to us. Russia can't beat us. Nobody can beat us if we stick together. But the point is, we got to get people out of office that don't want to be part of what's, to help us. And the fact of the matter is, you need a balance of economics. You need socialism and you need capitalism. It needs to be combined together to help so everybody can be productive. Okay, and the first thing we need to do is once they're out of office, we get people in there that are representing the people that they are that they live in. They have to live in the areas that they represent. You can't live in D.C., which is a foreign country invading a sovereign nation. You cannot live in Washington, D.C. as a politician. You have to live in the areas that you represent the constituents, and that's as simple as that. You are not there to live in D.C. You are there to represent the people of your state and the people of your country. Okay, that's how that works. You need term limits. You need term limits in Congress and the Senate, and you can't have people undermining our traditional system. You cannot have people undermining the Supreme Court. Okay, that's what keeps everything in balance. It's called check and balance for a reason. The Supreme Court is supposed to make sure that governments aren't running amok on you and your liberties aren't taken advantage of. Okay, that's number one. The term limits in Congress and in the Senate and the presidency, and you need laws against lobbyists and politicians that take their money. No more lobbyists. As a matter of fact, they should be executed just coming into there to try to undermine our government. That's how serious that shit is, okay? 2, anybody that's making money off the stock market on inside trading should be arrested. All of their money that they've made while they're in Congress and all that stuff that they've made, their family's money, everybody that's directly involved with them, all their money should be confiscated and put back into our country. All their lands that they have should be confiscated and put back into our country. And we need Medicare for all. Every civilized country has Medicare for all. I don't want to hear about how expensive it is and we can't afford it and it's going to bankrupt the country. They're making trillions. They just gave $5 trillion to the wealthiest people in the United States. Donald Trump did that. Okay, signed it right over, and you got a $1,400 check, and they're getting their money back now by making the gasoline $6 to $7, $8 a gallon, which is ridiculous and absurd. We have our own gasoline here. We can use our own oil here. We have plenty of it. Every day they're finding more and more of this stuff here. Okay, these are just simple everyday norms that people can agree on. These creatures, and that's what they are. They're Luciferian creatures. Do not care about you or your family. And they need to be arrested and held accountable. And the Main Street journalists are the worst of all of them because they are brainwashing these people to believe that this is what the truth is, and it's not. It's lies. They should be arrested also. They should be held accountable for the same crimes that these other people are. They have committed high crimes against humanity, and they have committed treason, and they are war criminals. Okay? We are not supposed to go to war unless Congress decides agrees that we go to war. You're supposed to vote on this type of stuff. And we're definitely not supposed to send money to foreign countries to go to war with other countries they have no way of winning. Okay? Ukraine is not going to beat Russia. Okay? It's not going to happen. That money is that whole scheme is a money laundering scheme. They're sending hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars over there, and they're getting it back. We have a crime family like the Pelosi's and the Bidens and the Clintons and all the other ones. I mean, the Republicans are just as bad. Everyone, the Marjorie Greens and stuff, she made money off the stock market. Even that other lady that's from Colorado, she come out of the basement. These are actors. They're not even politicians. They're actors. Ted Cruz is an actor. All of these people are actors, okay? They're not there to help anybody. They're there to make money, and they need to get out of office, all of them. And we need to put people in that position that cares for the American people. You're not going to be making a lot of money as a congressperson or as a senator. We need to cut their wages in half. When you become a congressperson, you're going to have a house by the people, and you're going to have a transportation by the people, and we're going to support that. But once you're out of office, you get your retirement. You're only allowed to stay for 4 years. That's it. You can't go from Congress to Senate either. You got to be out of politics for 2 years before you can become a senator again. There has to be laws. We have to agree on something. I'm just going off. This isn't like written in stone, but this is stuff we all have to agree on, or we're going to end up like Sri Lanka. And I'm telling you, it's not going to be pretty because there's 300 plus million people here. Okay. And there's no one going to stop this. You're going to have tanks in the streets. And like that man said over there, Jack Leland, I believe his name is, from Black Scout Survival, you don't stand a snowball chance in hell against the federal government if you're trying to take them on like that. They'll fly over your house and blast you with droids or whatever. You don't have the money or resources. But what you can do is not participate in this evil system. Okay, it worked for Gandhi. They got the English out of India. He didn't fire a shot. Okay, you just don't participate in it. And until people will start doing stuff like this and not participating in this, the federal taxes on your working wages, that has to be abolished. You can tax the goods that come in. You can tax the goods that we sell. There's other ways to get money without taking people's money that they earn on their checks because they can't even survive on that. After you get taxed and the way the gasoline's going, if you make $15 an hour and you drive a car to work, by the time you get your paycheck and pay for your bills and pay for all your food and all your family stuff, you're making less than $9 an hour, even less than that. Some guy broke it down till it was like $5.75 an hour. Okay, that's what you're making take home. So $9.75 and stuff out of your paycheck if you make $15 is going to these criminals, okay? And how much is enough? How much more are you going to take of this? And I'm tired of these channels. The left is this and the right's that, and the Fox News and CNN, and then you got nice guys like Salty Cracker. I like him, but he's in that left versus right paradigm. This other grifter, well, this one guy, Benny Johnson, he's a grifter. He's 37 years old. He thinks he knows about what's going on because he's feeding into your Trump delusions. Okay, I like Donald Trump. He seems like a nice guy. I voted for Donald Trump. I've been a Republican since I've been 18 years old. But as the last couple of years, I feel I come to the conclusion as a grown man to be able to make my own decisions that these political systems is the problem. The whole system is the problem. The political parties are the problem. Okay, you don't need political parties. You need individuals. You vote for their merits and who they are and what they represent, and they're going to do business for you. And then they live in the same area that they're supposed to represent. You can actually go to them and talk to them and tell them about your concerns. Okay, that's how that's supposed to work. When I was growing up, you can literally go to your senator's office and talk to your senator and talk to your congressperson. They weren't in D.C. They only go there a few times a year to talk about the issues in their state and see if other states were having that same issue and come together to bring solutions to these problems. Not to tear our country down. Then you got a guy out there talking about shooting the KKK and all that, like there's people walking around in KKK hoods. I haven't seen that shit. And, the only time I ever seen people in real life dressed up in KKK uniforms was some kind of protest these people were doing down here in Florida. And I was like 1987 or something like that. I was a kid. And we were like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? These people are fucking insane. And we were heckling them and stuff like that. And anybody that acted that way in school, we beat their ass, these Nazis. I played sports with people of all different colors. I played tennis where I met people from all over the world, all different colors, all different nations, all different creeds. There was none of that shit going on. This is made by these evil people, and they're both evil, Democrats and Republicans. They're evil. And they just put a little label on themselves. And you're going to get tied up in this, and their main purpose is to start a civil war against poor people. Okay? If you ain't got a few $1 million in the bank, you're poor. Okay? They can take your shit anytime they want to anyway. No matter how much money you want, they can lock your accounts out if you say the wrong thing. There's celebrities on here, on Twitter and everything else. They're blocked and they took their money from them. I mean, I got that Jackson Hewitt guy or whatever his name is. He does a YouTube channel. They locked him out of his PayPal. There's a lot of guys having problems. Aaron Monte was one of the dudes, one of his friends. The fellow that I forget. Blumenthal, he got locked out of his account. I mean, these are just regular people that are trying to help society. Am I a liberal? No, I believe in having liberal. I believe you should help your fellow man, but I don't believe that you should take all their stuff from them. There's to be a balance, okay? I've been a Republican, like I said, my whole life, and I'm done with these people. They're evil creatures. They have it's an actor. They're actors. Once they get into the position that they want to get into, they're going to take your shit. Rick Scott is literally trying to take people's Social Security benefits from them, like forever. You're never going to get your money, so they can get it. And Medicare and Medicaid. And he's a Republican, okay, supposedly. That guy should be in prison. He's a criminal. So is Nancy Pelosi. All these people should be in prison. And we need to have a work stoppage until they are incarcerated. Okay, they need to be taken out of office in cuffs, and then you're going to have journalists, they're going to start doing the right thing, or they're going to be arrested too, and then you have all day long where you're watching these people during trial and arresting them and putting them in front of a military tribunal, and then let the generals decide what to do with them. And if it's treason, you execute them on live television, and that's what you do. Then you set a message. This is what happens when you do this. These people are evil, okay? They changed the Constitution in 1871. You have two constitutions. They sold our country to what is it? I'm sorry. There's three people they sold the country to. That's why it's called United States Incorporated in 1871. The Rothschilds, the Bank of England, which is the Queen of England, and you have the Roman Catholic Church. Those three entities own everything on the planet. Okay, everything. The Rothschilds own 2/3 of the planet. They own almost all the land, and they make all the money, which none of this money is backed by gold or silver or anything. You can just go to Walmart and buy a Monopoly game, and that money's worth just as much as this. It's an illusion. They've tricked everybody. They've lied to you about everything. And if you don't find Jesus Christ, Yahshua Christ Jesus, you are going to be in a world of shit, to be honest with you. Sorry, there's no, you're going to die a horrible, horrible death, and your soul is messed up. You're not ever going to, you're not going to see your family in heaven or none of that, because you are evil and you're being part of an evil society. It's time to get this sorted out, and it's time to do it in a peaceful manner. And that's not to comply with any of the things that these Luciferians are doing. Ron DeSantis, I don't trust him either, but at least, living in Florida, I have a lot more freedoms than I did when I was living in Ohio, okay? That's why we moved out of there, and we just got out of there in time before, all the shit hit the fan up there. Because I was just had a feeling in my heart. God was telling me, let's go, Sean, let's get out of here. And then a few months later, the pandemic hit, and I was glad I would move back to my home state, Florida. And I was born in Pennsylvania, born in the city of Philadelphia. When I was like 7 or 8 years old, my mom moved to Florida because of the crime and everything else that was going on up there. And I lost my dad, so my mom really didn't have a reason to stay there. So I'm telling you as your friend, and as people, I love you guys and ladies out there, and I don't want anything to happen. And I make videos, and either I'm being shadow banned or people don't care. But mark my words and see, you can timestamp this. If we do not do something soon, and I mean within the next month or so, we are going to end up worse than Lanka, because we have more people here than they do over there. They only have 23 million people. There's more than that. There's more than that lives here in Florida, I believe. I think there's like 30 million people that live in Florida. I could be wrong, but it's around there. And California, God knows how many people live there, because there's, they got people walking across the border and everything like that. And the way to fix this border is, yes, you would build a wall, but then you would let people come over every day and work. You give them a working permit, and let them come over and work, make some money, and then they would be taxed on their working wages because they're not American citizens, and then you send them back home. And then through the right process, they can become a legal citizen here. And if you're in a country that's, that your life is in danger, then you can seek political asylum. I understand that. I'm about that. But do you have doors on your house? Do you have a fence around your house? Then why wouldn't you have doors and a fence around your country to keep people from walking in and doing horrible things to you? This is really self-explanatory stuff, and they know that. But they're Luciferians that want to make things complicated and cause you more pain and more suffering than that you have to go through. And they want to bring anxiety on you and worries and all that, which is all devil stuff, all Luciferian stuff. God did not make us to worry. God did not make us to have anxieties. And God told us to fight against these people, okay? And when Jesus was saying, turn the other cheek, that's because he's telling you that they are not you are their equal. They're not better than you, and you're not better than them. We are equal, and you don't have to take anything from these people. You just stand in your beliefs, and that's what you have to do. I've been working on not using so much profanity. I apologize sometimes, because my friend Mike was telling me, Mike Myers has got a channel on here, and he's like, Sean, you're a nice guy. Stop, using so much profanity. And more people listen to it, and I've taken his advice. I read my Bible more than I have been. I'm trying to get back spiritually. I'm trying to get strong. I need surgery done on my neck and stuff, and I'm going to, I'm trying to do the best that I can do. But I also am doing other things in my life, and I have to take the time out because no one's talking about this. And there's people that got 50, 60,000 subscribers, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, millions of subscribers, and they're selling sports cards and grifting people on Bitcoins and grifting people. Oh, the PSA is getting, they dropped the prices down on the sports cards. You can send them in for $18 a month. That guy, Neo, a scammer, a grifter, a scumbag, he ain't never going to tell you about anything like this going on. They all know what's going on. That guy, Jeff Wilson, that was in the stock market grifting you in this shit here. He must have been really shitty at stock market money because his predictions in sports cards are the worst I've ever seen. He's pretty bad at it, unless it's intentional. So who knows? But the fact of the matter is, nobody's going to come out here and do this stuff and help anybody until it's too late. And I'm going to tell you, I'm 100% right. I'd give this another year, maybe less, and we're going to even see people in areas where this would never happen before in our country. It's going to start happening. There's going to be riots. There's going to be food riots. There's going to be a lot of innocent people being killed, and meanwhile, these people are just going to be trying to run to be politicians and tell you they have the solution to these problems, and they don't, because the system is broken and corrupt beyond repair. This two-party system has to go. They won't even let another third-party system in because they wouldn't be able to control it. So therefore, get rid of all political parties, because if you won't have more than two political parties, then that should tell everybody right there that they want to keep things corrupt and they want to keep you under their hands and make sure that you're not going to be able to get anywhere. I'm going to leave by saying this. May God bless everyone here. May you find your peace and your happiness in your life. And when trouble comes to you and evil comes to you, stand fast in the Lord. Don't be afraid. Just know that God's with you and He loves you, and so do I. I know this video is a little long, and I highly doubt most people are going to watch it through, but you can timestamp this because I'm 100% right about this. I'd give it less than 2 years, and we're going to be in a really bad way here in America. And there's going to be a lot of innocent people that are going to die over this because people just won't stand up. We become a nation of cowards and sheeps. And to be honest with you, it breaks my heart that the Americans have become a disgrace to the human race.